Hello everyone, I'm Chenwen Wang, currently a postdoc at Harvard University. Today I'm presenting our study extending the nested model for user-centric XAI, a design study on GNN-based drug repurposing. First of all, I would like to thank my fantastic collaborators and mentors. The honorable mention award of this paper wouldn't be possible without their generous contributions. As described in the title, we present a visualization design study on graph neural networks, a type of widely used AI technique. But this is not just another XAI visualization tool. Why? Let's first take a look at the existing AI visualization tools. Current visualization tools are usually designed for one specific AI explanations, such as rule-based explanations, counterfactual explanations, and attribution-based explanations. Although studies are very exciting as they are able to effectively organize and present the hidden information in the black box model. However, they're often designed and evaluated on general tasks. And when we build visualization tools for end users and for domain problems, it is important to note that not all explanations are equally usable. Here are some examples. Attribution-based explanations explain a prediction by highlighting the most related regions in the input. However, this widely used explanation technique cannot help users identify defective models. Similarly, counterfactual explanations describe which input changes were needed to update model predictions. Even though this explanation is considered to resemble how humans make decisions, it does not improve calibrate user trust compared with other types of explanations. The two-finger examples do not mean that explanations are not usable. Where attribution-based explanations are criticized for the classification of nature images, it is actually a very useful technique on regulatory genomics by identifying related genomic locations and helping users decode the genome functions. In other words, which explanations work or do not work is extremely data type and application domain specific. Therefore, when designing visualization tools for domain users, we should not just visualize the results of one specific explanation, but considering the user needs, the usage context, and the type of explanations all into the design process. Some recent studies have investigated the integration of XAI considerations into the user interface design. However, they are designed for general users and provide little discussion about visualization design. On the other hand, design visualizations for domain-specific problems is a well-designed topic in the visualization community. Many design models and frameworks have been proposed. Can we apply those design models for visualizing AI explanations? Our answer is yes, and this is exactly what we did in this study. We incorporate a diverse set of user-centric XAI design considerations into the different layers of a visualization design process, based on a literature review and our collaboration of domain experts. Specifically, we focus on graph neural networks in drug repurposing. The input data is a knowledge graph where nodes indicate medical entities such as drugs, disease, and proteins, and the edges represent the relationships among different nodes. The GNN model predicts whether an edge exists between a drug and a disease, that is, whether a drug can be used to treat a disease. Due to the time limitation, I will only introduce several design considerations as well as how we collaborate them into the visualization tool. Please refer to our paper for more details. In the domain abstraction layer, we examine how a human expert would reason about a phenomenon, which is called domain explanation. In our case, we want to understand how a medical expert would reason about a drug indication. Then, in the explanation abstraction layer, we investigate the format of AI explanations. Through a survey of current GNN explanations, we identify three common visual presentations: subgraph-based, path-based, and node-based. By comparing them to how human experts reason about drug indications, we identified that path-based explanations are more similar to the domain explanation. In terms of the granularity of explanations, users desire not only local explanations, that is, individual paths that explain a certain drug prediction, but also group explanations that can explain multiple similar drug predictions. We use metapaths as a group explanation, which consists of a sequence of node types and relation types. Putting all those design considerations together, we propose a meta matrix design. Here, each column is a drug, and each row summarizing all explanation paths that belong to a certain metapath. The cell indicates a number of individual paths, and users can click them to investigate further details. Here, I present a brief use case of the proposed visualization tool. Users first choose a disease of interest. Here, we choose Alzheimer's disease. The predicted drugs and the explanations are then visualized. The embedding view shows the embedding of all drugs in the knowledge graph and highlights the predicted drugs. The metapath view provides path-based explanations for drug predictions. Similar drug forms clusters in the embedding view. Here, we choose a cluster that consists of anti-diabetic drugs. This prediction consists with the current knowledge about diabetes and Alzheimer's. We choose one drug, Repurposing, in this cluster for detailed analysis. Users can click to expand or collapse, hide or unhide explanation paths as needed. Here, Repurposing is predicted partially because Alzheimer's disease is associated with a protein that is targeted by Repurposing. Another explanation for Repurposing is related to ibuprofen, a painkiller which shows benefits for treating Alzheimer's. We can also observe that similar drugs in the same cluster share similar explanations. We further conduct a user study and expert interviews to evaluate this visualization tool and the design process. Here, I only report findings that are related to one design consideration, the explanation format. We can see here, with path-based explanation, users are able to perform tasks more accurately, confidently, and quickly. We also found that a poorly designed explanation visualization is not necessarily better than a non-explanation baseline. In summary, there are three main takeaways. First, not all AI explanations are equally usable. We should keep that in mind when designing AI visualization tools for domain experts. Second, this paper presents a design study that extends the listed model for user-centric XAI, and we develop a visualization tool for explaining GNN-based drug repurposing. We believe the observations and insights from this study can be generalized to many other domain problems. And last, a small advertisement for myself. I'm on the job market and looking for a faculty or research position starting from 2023. Feel free to drop me an email if you are interested. And that's all. Thank you so much. Your questions and comments are welcome.